In terms of Forex terminology, PIP is the most important one. It is number one terminology out there in the Forex. On this module, we're going to take a look at understanding PIP and its value. Let's go. Let's get started. Okay, let's take a look at what is PIP. There are several different definitions for PIP. Some say it is percentage in point or point in percentage. And others say price interest point. To be honest, I didn't know the definition of PIP until I started researching for this course about 6 months ago. But I am trading Forex since 2010 successfully. I'm making money in it. I didn't know the definition of PIP. I didn't have to know the definition of PIP. So definition doesn't matter. But what it is, you have to know. Let's take a look at what is a PIP and the most important thing you need to know in terms of a PIP. PIP is the smallest unit of measurement in the value of a Forex pair. So in this example here, we have the US-Canada pair. Over here, after the decimal place, there are 4 numbers. And the 4th number represents the single pips. So here we have 5 pips. And this number represents 10 pips. So we have 2, so 25. So it goes like this. This is the 100 and this is the thousands. For any pairs except the Japanese pairs, it is a 4th number. For the Japanese pairs, it is the 2nd number after the decimal place. Okay, you guys probably heard the term, someone saying, I made 15 pip today, I made 50 pip today, or I lost 15 pip today. What does that mean? So how is that calculated in terms of the currency price movement? Okay, let's take a look at pip movement here. I entered into an order and I made 15 pip. US-Canada was at 1.2520 at that time. So 1.2520. And I made 15 pip. So what would be our closing price after making 15 pip on this trade? So we add the number of pips in decimal to the original quote price. So 15 pip in decimal is 0.015. Okay, so when we add it, we get the final closing price, which is 1.2535. Okay, so let's say if it's not 15 pip, let's say it's 100 pips, so it would be 0.0100. So that's what we are adding. So we add that, it would be 1.2620. So if it's 1,000 pip, it would be 0.100. So that's how pip is converted into decimals, then added to this number to find the final closing price. All this is calculated on the application itself on MT4 or TradingView. I'm just teaching you guys for the purpose of knowing the math behind it. Knowing the math behind it is important because you have to know the entry price and the closing price and your target before you enter an order. That is the key. Because as a trader, you have to know all of this. You have to have all this calculated before you enter the order. You could use a software to calculate it, or you could calculate it manually, but you have to do it before you enter an order. Now let's take a look at an example of 15 pip move down. Let's say we bought this currency pair at 1.2520 and we got stopped out for a loss of 15 pip. What is our closing price? In this scenario, our closing price would be the entry price of 1.2520 minus the number of pip in decimal. Again, it is 0.0015 and the closing price would be 1.2505. So we got stopped out at that price for a loss. 15 pip is a very low stop order. I never use 15 pip. Very rarely when I'm scalping, I might use 15 pip stop order, but usually stop orders are higher than that. Okay, here's an example of pip movement with the Japanese yen pairs. So same way, we are calculating it, but this time it is the second number after the decimal instead of the fourth number. So over here, for 15 pip, it is 0.15 instead of 0.0015 in the other pairs. So that's the only difference. So let's see if it's the 100 pips, it would be 1.00. That's what you have to add. So that's the difference between Japanese pairs and regular other pairs. Same way when it's moving down, you're subtracting 0.15 for 15 pip. Or if it's 1,000, it would be 10.00. So you understand the concept now. So for Japanese, the single pip starting point is the second number after the decimal place. For any other pairs, it would be the fourth number after the decimal place. That's the only difference. And everything else is calculated the same way. If it sounds kind of confusing right now, don't worry about it. I have added some notes down there to help you out. Also, I have added a quiz. So once you go through the quiz and when you take a look at the right answers, it will be very helpful. And throughout the course, we're going to go through this several times, actually more than hundreds of times. This way you practice more, and by the end of it, you would be a whiz at calculating pips and their values. Talking of values, now let's move on to calculating value of a pip. Okay, now you guys might have the question, okay, Jay, this is great. We know what a pip is. Now, in actual real money, what does that mean? So I made 15 pip in profit. What does that mean in real money, real dough? Okay, let's take a look at how it is calculated in real money. This is the formula for pip value calculus. Lot size. Lot size is basically the quantity of our order times 1 pip in decimal. And the result is our profit in the quote currency. So you may recall it from earlier lesson how to read currency pairs quotes. The base currency is the first currency in the pair, and the quote currency is the second currency in the pair. For example, if you're looking at US Canada, US would be the base currency and Canadian would be the quote currency. Let's take a look at an example here. This is for one of the main pairs, not involving Japanese yen. One standard lot we are trading, so that means 100,000 US times 1 pip in decimal. So that would be 0.001 equal to $10 Canadian. Our profit or loss of 1 pip would result in a loss or profit of $10 Canadian. Of course, your broker will convert that into the base currency of the account. This is one more thing that we're learning so we could understand the math behind it. But MT4 will show you your profit and loss or your potential profit and loss in the base currency after doing all those calculations. Okay, let's take a look at an example for a Japanese yen pair. So we have US Japanese yen here. Again, the standard lot size is 100,000 US times 1 pip in decimal. What do we know about Japanese pairs? 1 pip in decimal. It's the second number after the decimal place. So it would be 0.01 instead of 0.001 here. So when we multiply that, we get 1,000 Japanese yen. Again, that will be converted back into your base currency by your broker, and MT4 will only show you the results in the base currency. So there's no confusion there. Okay, this is just for math and understanding what goes behind it. Okay, here's the breakdown of how much a pip is worth on a standard lot. For any pairs ending in US, example Euro US, GBP US, Australia US, it is $10 US per pip for standard lot. Same idea for pairs such as US Swiss franc, it would be 10 Swiss franc for pip for a standard lot. Japanese yen would be slightly different since we know that the value of the pip in decimal for Japanese yen is 0.01 instead of the normal 0.0001. As a result of this, the Japanese yen pip value would be 1,000 yen. Once again, remember, MT4 will convert everything into your base currency of the account and show you in real time what you're making and what you're losing. So since we opened up our demo account in US dollars, it is going to show us in the base currency with US dollars all of our profit and loss for each pip. Okay, next we're just going to open up MT4 and some random orders and see how it calculates the profit and loss in real time. Okay, I have my MT4 open here. I'm just on the US Japan daily chart. Just going to put buy. I'm just putting it randomly. No particular strategy I'm using here. Just to show you guys. That green line where is I entered. So I'm just going to click there and drag down for my stop order here. I'm on the daily chart. So it's kind of like high time frame. So if I drag it down, I'm dragging it down here. See, the number is changing. So how much I could expect to lose. In this case, I could expect to lose about $1,000. It's changing as I go down. So I will just leave it below this valley here. Okay, I accept that. Okay. Okay, so every time you move it, it will ask you to accept it unless you have one click trade turned on. I will show you guys that in the MT4 lecture. So if I move my take profit all the way here, I could expect to make about 2,000. So let me try moving it again just to show you guys the number in the corner there. See, about 2,084. So 2,100, that's where I want to leave it. So just in case if that goes and hit it, I will be making 2,100 US, not Japanese yen, but US. Because my broker is converting that into US dollar because my base currency is in US dollar. As you could see, my base currency here is in US dollar. So this is how much margin I'm using, how much free margin I have, and my margin level, it shows in percentage as well. So as it goes up, these numbers change. Also, if you want to close it right now, right here is how much I'm making right now. Down about $15 right now, but as it goes up, you will see it changing it and going up in profit or going down in loss. So this is very simple. We don't have to know the actual calculation and calculate it every time we enter it, but it helps to know the foundation. Okay, that's the end of module 2.1. Next, we're going to take a look at what are lots. We briefly touched on them this time, but we're going into it deeper so you could get a better understanding what are lots.